Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special gameplay video. So this is Ian, and with me tonight is Eric. Say hello, Eric.
Hey Ian, how you doing?
I'm good. So we wanted to put together a little content for the community. A lot has changed in Skytear over the last few weeks, and we have a bunch of new rules and some new things happening. And so Eric had the idea to put together a little gameplay video. We're going to play open-handed, so everybody watching is going to be able to see all of the cards in our hand. We're going to talk about every play that we're making, and we hope to just be able to provide a really good learning experience, one for anyone new to the game, or for two, just anyone looking to get a little bit better at the game of Skytear.
Sounds like a great plan. I'm excited. Hopefully, be able to put my thoughts in a coherent semblance of what I'm doing them.
And so I'll just go ahead and preface that I will be playing in the game and also managing the camera, so I apologize if it's a little jerky as I'm moving things around. I'm going to do my best to keep everything as center as possible, and we're going to have some fun. So, Eric, let's go ahead and flip the coin. I think you and I, anytime we play, I'm a heads man, you're a tails man. So,
yep. So it is heads.
I very
Tails that
rarely
never
win
fails.
this. All right. So, what are our objectives for today?
Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna have.
So, tactician.
We're gonna have tactician and onslaught, and then a left breach.
Okay.
The left breach is on each of our sides, so I'm trying to push my left, and you're trying to push your left. If we take out those towers, it's over. Tactician, we just have to win 6 control points over the course of turns, so theoretically done by turn 2, but normally 3 or 4 is more usual. And then onslaught, you just got to kill 3 heroes.
Yeah, so sadly, my left breach is not token 1. My left breach is token 2. So for both attempting a breach, left token 1 is going to go off before 2. So I think that I'm going to play with my outsider. I think my worship ability here is going to come in handy, I think. So I'm going to choose the outsider and let you choose first or second.
Alrighty, so yeah, you get your outsider, and then, I mean, this is not my standard list, but even so, I just love playing second. So I know the power of the flux, and some people think it's great to be able to cheat those cards in a little early, but I just love going second, especially when there's something like Tactician out there where being able to choose where your hero goes last is highly valuable to me. So I'm going to go ahead and go second and give you that flux.
All right, well, be prepared to be rampant hatred round 2, Eric.
I've seen that a couple times. But now I can play Arena of Flames. Oh, wait, I'm not playing red. I can, still take it to the face.
Yep. But at least, so if it does come up, we'll get to talk about the skirmish action now that it's taken, and you might just be able to dodge it a little bit. So.
Yep.
All right. So it's time to draft. And as my first draft, I'm going to take Hokusai.
Always solid. Now, you went with a strictly red-green list. I went with a strictly blue-yellow list, except for my friend Brilvar's over here. And I've brought one sinkhole with him, so I might end up doing that depending on what we're doing here. So I like him because he keeps people alive, and he kind of is the anti-Hokusai. I also really like these Nupton characters and how they interact with each other. So I think today I'm going to lean into the Nupton side of things, and I'm going to go ahead and give my characters +1 armor. And I'm going to go ahead and put a Cootie here on this left-hand side because sometimes she can push with her illusion as well as giving armor to my team. And then Ekrit is going to be her friend up here. And the two of them, Ekrit having 2 armor seems really good.
All right. So I am going to bring a chemo because I see Onslaught and I just feel like I might want to possibly go that route And Akimo is my biggest hitter. So I'm going to bring Akimo. And then next thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to bring Kotlik along. I see your list, and I feel like with Astrida, I don't know if you'll end up bringing her or not, but you might want to be bringing out a bunch of extra minions, and Kotlik's ultimate is just too good not to have on my list, I think.
It is insane. It is one of the banes of my existence with my control lists. So I put my Akuti probably not in the perfect spot. I could use the other 2 squares because I forgot we are allowed to do that.
Oh, that's right. I did also forgot about that. It's a learning game for us too, Eric.
Yep, we're just ramping up here, but I'll leave it there. If you want to move your Kotlik, you totally can. Flex them out.
You know what? Just for the sake of it, let's put Kotlik here. And I think I'm fine with Akimo and Hokusai where they're at.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I am going to bring the Astrida, and I am going to flex her all the way out here so that if Akimo wants to chase her down, it's going to be more work because she can get over this bush round 1. And then if I want to actually kill you, I'm going with Shalavi. And if I want to just play the defense game and have my lovely sinkhole, Brilvar is... I just love him too much. So I'm going to take Brilvar as my 4th character, which means I'm saying bye to Shalavi and bye to Kenwi.
Yeah, we knew you weren't playing without Brilvar. And then I think my last hero, I'm going to bring Akla. And I will put him over here on the same side as Astrida. And hopefully that I might have a little target. So that's not goodbye, Sakoshi. And Zakol.
All right. Well, Astrida's feeling like she's going to be able to push this lane against Akimo and Akla, but might not be able to live very long.
So Eric, I was going to ask,
go
what do you think about the new 40 card decks? How does it affect the gameplay?
So alts come up less. I've actually been struggling because I love putting 3 mana cards in my deck. And I actually have the ratios of decent 3 mana cards is lower now. So I'm playing more 2 mana cards, which are actually interesting cards, right? So I actually kind of like it from a gameplay standpoint. But I have had to rethink how I lead from the top of my deck now because my ratios are off. But I've been enjoying going deeper into the card pool and finding some nuggets that I was not playing with before.
All right. So everybody watching, as you can see, Eric's going to be putting his hand up here in the top left corner of the board. And so we're going to be able to see what he's got going on, and he'll be talking about some of his plays. And so right now we're at the Mulligan phase. So Eric's going to we'll both have the ability to discard any cards that we don't want to keep in our hand and draw back up to 6. So for everybody looking at my hand, I have a couple of cards just jumping out at me that I do not want to see in my opening hand, and that is 2 Psychic Shields. I want these shuffled back into my deck as fast as possible. I want these to be flipped, and I don't foresee Eric doing a lot of damage out of hand, so I want these cards out, and I'm going to draw 2 new cards.
And then also, after we drafted, I'm throwing away the hit point markers for Zakol, Sakoshi, and my Shillavi and Kinui, so that we only have these guys there. And then hopefully when we pick up Akimo's thing, his hit point's set up. Yep. So sometimes the HUD needs a little bit of a nudge to get everybody's hit points right. All right. Alrighty. So you threw the Psychic Shield, which makes sense. I am definitely worried about round 1, so I would like to keep the Nourish. It's a great card. Shield Slam on Brilvar is definitely useful, not necessarily for the damage, although that's fine to slam a minion at some point, but also just to give somebody slow after I go next to them. Really ruins their turn when they have to attack me, and then I make them slow when they want to get away. I like to keep at least 1 3-drop so I can lead in the Dome round 1. And neither of these cards is one that's a great card, so I think I'm going to keep 1 and throw 1. And the one I'm more likely to use probably is going to be the Sudden Distraction on round 3. I don't know that I'm going to be behind on minions need to Soul Scream or go after a thing, so I'm going to throw that. And so Bewitch is a great round 2 card. I'm totally going to keep her around. So the question is, do I want a Charm? The main thing Charm is going to be able to do is to get a mark off of me from Hokusai so that I can get my armor back. And that seems like a fine thing to do. And probably before these new rules, I would not keep the charm because I don't think it's impactful enough. But I found that with the new rules, I'm having so many cards that I'm ending up throwing cards away after round 1 and even after round 2, just because we're drawing more cards. And even with the 7-card hand, that's happening. So having more action round 1 seems helpful. So I will keep those 5 cards and draw 1 more. And hopefully get something nice. And Snowblind, that's perfect. That is exactly what I want to do to Akla or Chemo going into round 2.
Okay. So I think we are ready.
Yep. Good luck, Ian.
Good luck. So we have our little markers for activation. There they are. So I'm going to activate Akla. And I'm going to start with a move action.
Sounds good. You're okay to go?
Yep. So I'm going to move to here. And then I'm going to take a worship action.
That's fine.
I'm going to put this in the bush here, okay, so you don't try to do anything crazy. And then I think I'm just going to take a lead action. I'm going to lead from the deck.
Sounds good. So when I'm setting up and starting my first turn, I like to look at the victory conditions, and I might not necessarily know for 100% what I'm going to win with, but I have a good idea. So when I look at these, I'm looking at the left breach. I think my deck is going to be pretty good at that. I've got both a Kuti and a Strida, which are probably better, and Ekrit, so are probably better pushers than him in general. And then Tactician, I think, is something I can also probably work my way towards. It's, like I said, advantage going second on that. My deck is probably not built for the Onslaught victory condition. There's always going after the Nexus, which obviously left breach would be easier, but if I right breach because he's protecting left, I can maybe get through there. The other thing I want to think about is how he's going to win. And so the first thing that jumps out of me with Akla, Akimo, and Hokusai, and even with Kotlik and his skirmish abilities after he builds up pillars and stuff, is that I am definitely worried about an onslaught happening. So I have to keep in mind that my hit point is important. Like some matches, I don't care at all, and I'll take some extra damage, but here I want to be a little bit careful about that. But I also think it's very possible that Ian comes out with a Tactician victory, because you get a couple kills or kills at the right time, and you can start winning 2 lanes. So I have to be careful I don't fall behind too far on that.
I think the old adage is dead heroes can't lead, Eric. So
They cannot. And when you don't lead, you don't win lanes. So that is true. So Akla's already gone, which means that Astrida is kind of safe to be able to move over here. She'd only have to deal with a Chemo, and if he moves and skirmishes and red-green doesn't have fast, I can stay in this bush pretty safely. I like to generally try and shapeshift her first if I can with another blue hero, which I could with Brilvar. That would require me putting Brilvar in the middle, which probably isn't the worst idea, because if you go after somebody, Brilvar's a fine target. Hokusai could go in and reduce his armor, and nobody would be able to give him more armor because I don't have any other blue heroes, so unless I have a touch of Leothan, I don't. So I could take a fair amount of damage on Brilvar, but I think that is a worthwhile risk to get the extra action on Astrida so she can get out here and do everything she wants to do. So I'm going to actually activate Brilvar, and I'm going to start with a worship action.
that's fine.
And we will worship Astrida because she's amazing. And then I'll go ahead and do a move.
Move is good.
And I want to lean towards my friend Astrida. I'm probably putting her over in the bush, but if I ever need her to get armor, I kind of want him over there. And so I don't see it needs a coal. He could have slide, so if I put myself next to the edge and he sinkhole, or if he fluxes and slides me, that would be bad. So I want to stay in a little bit. But he doesn't... I think I'm okay getting all the way forward in case I need to advance towards either a tower next turn if I'm pushing. So I'm going to get up there, and then my third action, I'm going to do a lead action. And that 3-cost card, the only one I have in my hand, this is the important place to do it, because the dome, you don't have things like minions or stuff. Only heroes can affect the dome and their lead cards. So aside from presence, basically this is it. So leading for 1 less is a really big deal, especially on round 1, because the outsider, like he says, is very pivotal to Ian's deck's plan.
All right. So I think I'm going to activate Kotlik here. And I'm going to start with a move action.
Sounds good.
I'm going to move up to here. And I'm going to continue the worship plan.
Sounds good. Pillars, pillars everywhere.
Pillars everywhere. And I think this time I'm going to put this one over here in this bush.
Okay.
And then I will attack this minion here.
So how good is it that you get to put your melee guys on the edge here, and they can go out and actually kill a guy without spending their entire turn doing it?
It is so important to round one. You saw one of my tech cards now, Eric.
Oh, on burial rights. It's like there's a reason for all these pillars that are coming out.
So this was my sneaky way of maybe getting a tactician win here. I did pack a few unburial rights, but
nice.
I'm not sad to see one of them go this early. I definitely don't want to flip a -1 when I do an attack on one of your heroes, which that will be coming.
And what's interesting is I was almost going to start talking about is like, okay, Akla's ability for pillars, yes, it gives them sight, which is somewhat useful, but dropping it early, but it can do damage to heroes, and so having those around is useful. Kotlik just doesn't care where they are, because if he ever wants to crack them, he gets to do his bonus skirmish damage. So when you're dropping these pillars early, it makes me think, yeah, maybe there's something else going on. And like you just showed, that's proof is in the pudding right there. Alrighty. So you are aggressively going after both lanes, which makes sense. I think it's fine for me to go to the street now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
So she is going to go ahead and move, and I just don't want any of that chemo business, so I'm going to move all the way out into this bush right here.
Scared.
And then she's going to do an attack action, and we will attack the outside minion in case Brilvar later wants to come over and beat up the inside minion.
Okay, I have a reaction.
Aha. Am I getting safeguarded or underground tunneled?
Akla would love to play in underground tunnels.
Alrighty.
So this is going to let me target a friendly minion, and I get to move him next to another minion on the battlefield.
And you have to move it so that she can no longer target it.
So I'm going to take this minion and move it over here next to
all the way over there.
his buddy.
So that left breach. And so when that happens, my Estrida's attack fizzles. So her attack action basically did nothing. Sadly, that not only that also means I don't get to use her special ability, which is the whole reason for her to be shapeshifted of creating one. So that is a big turn one swing. And then, as her third action to make up for this, so if I lead right now and I outlead you, I will at least push the token 1, and that seems good. So I will do a lead, and I don't even have a 3 in my hand to use, so I'm just going to lead from deck. And then when she exhausts, she loses that worship token, so she'll have to work to get that back next round.
All right. So I think I'm going to go with Hokusai as my next activation. And Hokusai loves to live in the dome, so we're going to move as my first action.
Go ahead. Huh, that's not right next to Brilvar. That's weird.
And it's definitely not next to Brilvar. So as my second action, I'm going to worship.
Yep.
And with the red worship ability, I no longer need line of sight. So I just have to target somebody within 3 hexes, and I'm going to target Ekrit with my worship.
Poor Ekrit, taking the beating through the dome.
And Hokusai's ability allows me to flip 1+ damage on both of us, and it's piercing damage. So flipping a +2. So we're each going to take 3 piercing damage.
3 damage. My armor does nothing for me, so I go down to 13.
And you led from hand with Brilvar, so I think I want to just maybe continue to put some little pressure in the dome, so I'm going to also lead from hand here.
Makes sense.
And that's going to be it for Hokusai.
And so, as I was talking about not putting my Brilvar on the edge of the dome because of slide, I'm pretty sure Hokusai did not want to come next to Brilvar because of my taunt ability next round. And then also, you didn't want to be on the edge of the dome because I have an Ekrit whose ability could push you out of the dome. So that left you with basically 3 hexes that fulfilled the requirements for that.
Exactly. So I think in a different world, if you don't play Ekrit, I would love to have my Hokusai in this hex, actually. But you're 100% right. Ekrit could just push me right out of the dome with her ability, and I'll just pop this up here on the screen, that wind barrier ability. And that's the last thing I want, is to lose my lead in the dome. So
yeah, so I think one of the, I don't know, second, third game in, whenever you first play against Ekrit or Zakol, and the first time you just do it and somebody pushes you out, it's like, oh yeah, now I've got to learn. And so anytime you see Zakol and Ekrit across from you, you've got to be aware of that. So, alrighty. Well, Ekrit wants to stay back here away from Akimo, but Akuti is going to be the one to go out. And does she want to get beat up by Akimo? 1, 2, 3. No matter where I go in these bushes, you would be able to get me with a move skirmish attack. I could come all the way out to here if I wanted to avoid that fate. But I think you splitting your damage would be okay with me. So I think we will have Akuti just move.
Yep.
And we will advance as far as we can while staying in this lane over here. Then we will do a worship, and Akuti's worship has gotten so much better. I mean, I can't even explain how much better this thing is now. Not only does the plus...
I was going to say the +1 armor.
The +1 armor being able to go through dome. So like people like to use it to push, which I think is the right thing to do, and they used to do that. But then there are heroes that were not in the dome wouldn't get the armor. But now you can get both those things, and it makes for some very challenging... all of a sudden, yellow can be very buffy, right? Very buffed up. Yeah. So their tank is Shadris, but now everybody can kind of be a tank. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put Akuti's illusion there. So I spawn it on myself. I can move up to 3 spaces. Has to be on empty hex. And then my last action is going to be... I just got to use it. Kotlik is not leading either. So I will go ahead and attack, and I will attack the minion over here.
Okay, I have no response to that.
Alrighty, so I flip there, and the presence kills that guy, and then Akuti's ability called Retribution, when she doesn't attack, her illusion can do a 1+ attack to a minion, so I will go ahead and try that. I do have some -1s in my deck, so it's possible this fails, but the exhaustion is not one of them, so that guy goes away too. And so now we're at parity on this lane, because I've used all 3 of my actions. We're both sitting at 2, and nobody chose to lead over here so far. So we'll see if that stays that way.
So this is where I have some... I have a lot of options, right? So you haven't really given me a great target with the chemo, which well done. So, I can pick a lane, I can pick the dome, and you're going to be able to respond to that however you want. So my thought is, if I go into the dome, you can come in and tie it. And then I risk losing a lane. I can go pick a lane, but then you win the dome. So there's a lot of questions here, and I'm just not quite sure. I hate going down 2-1 on a tactician this quickly, but I don't know if there's much of an option here with you going second. So I kind of just have to pick something here. I don't really love my options too much. So in lane 1, you don't have a lead and I don't have a lead. So we are just straight tied. You're up 1 minion on lane 2.
But we were both leading from deck on lane 2, so it's possible that you're tying it or winning it.
Right. And then Ekrit can come in and use a barrier to hit either one of those minions.
She cannot actually... Oh, yeah, she could. She could get to here, and yes.
Yep.
So she can hit that one to help out that side if she wants to. And that is one of the crazy things about her, is she can go in the dome and round 1 still be affecting the lanes on the outside, which makes her really good early on, and one of the reasons that, probably Hokusai targeted her, because she is just very useful in that regard.
So I am going to. I think I'm going to. I think I've decided I'm going to go into the dome. I want a chemo to be ready to pounce. Well, maybe that's not right, because you're just going to taunt me with Brilvar, and I don't want that. I don't want to be taunted. So, all right, I'm going to activate a chemo. I'm going to move.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to go to lane 2. So I'm going to start with a move action.
Sounds good. Yeah, Astrida was worried about this.
All right. So I'm not going to declare a skirmish action.
Okay.
So I will declare a skirmish action targeting no one. So
Fair
this
enough.
is going to allow me to still move a couple of hexes, but I will not get to flip on anyone with the new rules. And I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more as it comes into play. But I'm going to target no one with my skirmish.
Yeah, and just for everybody's note, he can't, right? So he's unable to target Brilvar right now because it's through a white line, and Astrida's 4 away, and you can't target minions. So basically, that is his only option. But yes,
Yep.
you get 2 movement points for this.
And then I will, as my last action, target an attack on a minion.
Alrighty, 4++. I'm okay with that.
Yep. Waste a big attack. Hey, get my
Whoa,
2 -1s out.
2
I'm okay with
strength of
that.
pains. Alrighty. So not such a big attack. Alrighty. So now what's happening over here? So we both have. So you have 1 extra guy over here, and we both have blind leads. And you might have noticed I have plenty of 1s in my deck, so I am not confident in winning this. Over here, we're tied. So the question is, so I'm totally going to the middle to take the dome. I think that is just pretty obvious that the outsider is going to be worth enough. If I go over here, I definitely get to win 2 things, which is helpful for Tactician. It also helps me push the left breach. And like you said, I get the 1 instead of the 2. So if I somehow breach and you breach, then I will win first. So I think that's what I'm going to do. The other thing is, to be safe, I could try and just take out this minion with the wind barrier and have a better chance of tying this side so that I don't have a chance to lose, because Astrida is great at stopping, but here next turn, Akala and Akima are probably going to do some serious damage to Astrida.
That's my plan. And, I'll go ahead and mention it now. So in my deck, I'm playing Provoke the Beast. I want to make sure that the outsider comes out. So if I go into the dome, you have the ability to just tie the dome and the outsider doesn't come out.
That's true.
So this was my ultimate decision, was to move to a lane in hopes that you would go into the dome. And I'm fine with you winning it here, I think, just because I want him on the board.
Yeah, especially if you have a Provoke or 2 Provokes in your hand, it's a really strong round 2 card because it only costs 1 mana and can put out a lot of damage. And I still think, yes, if I somehow knew you had it or something, but I don't. And so I think makes perfect sense that I win that dome because it is valuable. So I will go with Ekrit, and we will do a move action.
Yep.
And so now the question is, do I want to stay in the middle so I can go help over there, or I just want to stay here? And I think I'm leaning towards just pushing, and hopefully I push harder and faster than you. So I'm going to keep my girls together and their illusions together. And then the second one, I'm going to do a worship action. Is that all right?
That is fine.
And so Ekrit can now put the illusion here or here. I think I'll keep it closer to home. So her illusion lets her do wind barrier, but also means that if you try and do any shenanigans like a slider or a sinkhole or anything, you can't actually move my Nupton characters, which is really nice at certain points in the game. And then I will do a attack action, and if you want to show them the wind barrier there, instead of doing a regular attack, she gets to replace it with a area of effect that's basically going to attack all 4 of these hexes. And in this case, it only hits 1 guy, but I can do it from the other side of the white line. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yep, that is okay. That is good.
Alrighty. So 2 + 0 is enough to take that guy out. And then Ekrit is done. And before I'm done, I'm about to get a whole bunch of cards. So Shield Slam does nothing because you didn't come close to me. I think I am going to burn the Nourish on Ekrit since I've taken no damage with Astrida yet, even though she might want it next turn. So I'm going to try and use a Nourish on my Ekrit. Is that all right?
That is fine.
So Ekrit. And I am playing this, and if this was a action card, I could have played it, but it is a reaction, so I could have waited and done it on some other person's turn. It just happens to be at the end of this round. I'm using it on Ekrit.
Yep, and I think I also have a card that I would like to play here.
Go ahead.
So Akimo is going to play a Dreams of Towlet.
Nice. More pillars.
Yep, and I think I'm going to place a pillar right here.
Yep, so that sets you up for Akla getting to do some extra damage to Estrida next turn, or for a nice and burial rights.
Yep.
Alrighty. So Ekrit does get exhausted here, and that moves. I'll hit the end of activation button to clear all that stuff up. We probably should have done after that, but it doesn't really matter. And now we go to the minion phase.
So lane
So we
1.
start in lane 1. I've got 1-2 to your 1.
Yep, no leads. So you win
So
by 1.
I will go ahead and win by 1. There's no minions to destroy, so I just get to move 1 hex. And the important part is now I'm within 3 of your tower, so that next round I can actually do damage there. Since I won, I have to put my minions down first. So the first one goes on the spawn point. And the second one, you don't have yellow, so I don't have to worry about wind barrier or Ekrit's thing. So I guess I can go ahead and just spread it. Actually, I want it here. I'm putting it here so that if you put your guy here, it's easier for me to get over here and bewitch them. There's no place you can really hide your guys from my bewitch ability, which is standing next to your guys. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that this minion of yours that was still on no longer snaps to the control point. Since it was within 3 hexes of the control point's new placement, it no longer moves. It stays right where it is.
Yep.
So I have to put mine on the control point. And so now I have to think about Ekrit. I don't want to put it in an easy wind blast spot. So I think I'm just going to put it right here. If you are going to wind blast, it'll make you work for it a little bit, but there's really not a whole lot of options.
And then with the new rules, I get to draw a single card for winning that lane.
Yep.
And I also get to take and put a tactician point on, or a point on tactician. So I have 1 of the 6 I need. And I drew a chasm, which is great because I might need to lead next turn, but it's also an excellent round 3 card. One of those things that is my bread and butter. Alrighty, we jump over to lane 2. And I've got an Estrida with a 3, thank goodness. So I've got 5 over here.
Yep.
What has Akla got?
Akla has a 3 as well.
Nice.
So I win by 1.
You win by 1, which means my minion dies, and you get to put this control token either under a chemo or under a pillar.
I think I'm going to put it under a chemo.
Okay, I'll move him for a second. And then you get a card. And you are the green, so you get a tactician point.
And then now we are placing 2 minions. I do not want this anywhere near Estrida and her Bewitch ability. So I'm going to put them right over here. If you want to come bewitch me, you're going to have to get right up in a chemo's face.
Yeah. So my options are to get in the way. So chemo has to go around, but really it's not. Well, I guess it stops you from worshiping me and getting closer to me. So yeah, I'll use my 2 minions as a mini barrier. Not particularly effective, but it's something.
Yeah.
And then, yep, that's that. And then we have the middle. And I led with a 3. I assume you led with a 3. So I win 5-4. So I gain a card. And that's Nightmares Incarnate.
And that's your second tactician point.
I get 2 tactician point, and now I get this guy. And this guy has to be placed partly inside the dome and partly outside the dome. He's got a base of 3. He's the original outsider that came with the game. And so now the question is, do I help push this down? I think Estrida is going to need some more help over here. Which, funnily enough, when your Provoke the Beast comes out and hits her, I'm going to be sad. But I think knowing what I know, or the lack of what I know, this just seems wise. So I'm going to probably attack a minion. I'd like to push one of your guys away so that they're less useful, but that's not particularly on the schedule, I don't think. I could also attack this pillar to just get it away from Estrida. I think Brovar wants to come back this way and like grab a chemo, so I will instead put the guy up here. I've got to change my rotation angle so that.
There you go.
Okay.
So that is 1 in and 2 out.
1 in and 2 out, which means it can be targeted from either side and can target from either side. So, but it does mean I'm not 3, so I can't worship a Strida from there. Whereas if I put it down here, I can worship a Strida. Actually, worshiping a Strida is really good, especially if Brilvar comes over early on because it can give her more armor. Okay, I've changed my mind. Alrighty, so if I look at this card here, the Divine Conduit is the first ability. Target friendly hero takes worship action. So I am definitely going to do that. And during the minion phase, you basically can't react. So I get to just do stuff without the whole asking permission every time.
Yep.
So I'm just going to do that.
Yep, I'm just showing the outsider card on the screen here. So
nice. So then I will go ahead and attack this minion that is right next to the outsider.
Yep.
So I flip, and shove is enough to kill it. And then the last thing, I could draw a card, but I already have 6, and I'm about to draw 2 more. And max hand size is now 7, so I'm already throwing away 1 card. I mean, seeing more cards is kind of nice, but 8 is probably enough. So the only question is, what else can I do that might be useful? So a Shockwave. I can't reach Akla. I could hit a Chemo and move him away 2 steps, and then maybe I could grab both of them. No, yes, maybe. I'd put him over here. That actually puts you in a better spot. So I don't like that. So I could push Hokusai out of the dome. Is that good? It's interesting. It's piercing. You've already done some damage to him. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use a Shockwave on Hokusai over there.
Okay, so this is 0 plus piercing damage, but push 2 hexes.
So 1 damage from Ice Wall, and then I get to push you 2 hexes to send you out there. And then that will be the end of that. And so now we do the cleanup.
Yep.
Where we throw all our cards away. Any heroes that aren't dead, which are all of them, get to untap. Oops, I need to get back to 90 degree on my turns. And then we all draw 2 cards. And like I said, I'm going to have to discard. Ooh, Touch the Leothin is a nice card. So I think I am going to throw away this charm that I didn't use round 1. I like all these 2-cost cards and touch, so yeah, I'm going to throw away a charm.
Okay.
And yep, you moved it to round 2, and now you get to go, and now you can't use the Flux for ultimates, but any other 3-cost card you all of a sudden have online, and some of those 3-cost cards are really good. So this is where some people really like going first, because they get to do this right now before I have a chance to react with any of my cards or heroes.
Yep. So I think I'm going to go with Akla. So I have my pillar out next to a Shrita. So typically with you being in the bush, I wouldn't have line of sight to you. So the fact that I've got my pillar out here, Akla has line of sight to her. So I think I'm going to activate Akla.
Sounds good.
And I'm going to start my activation with playing a Blazing Edge.
Blazing Edge. That's going to give you some extra damage, I think, right?
Give me +2 attack, and all damage dealt by my attack actions have piercing. So
that would be a 5++ and no armor. She has 1 right now. Okay.
So I'm going to start with an attack. I'm going to declare an attack targeting Astrida.
Alrighty. And now this is where Astrida gets to be tricky. And yes, I would love to do a Bewitch or something else, but I think in this case, this so all-round useful card can be used for killing people, but it also can be used for destroying pillars. So I will play a Nightmares Incarnate, and Astrida will target this pillar that is giving you line of sight to her.
Ah, that is a very good play. Well played. Yep, I have no response.
So I do 3 damage to this pillar. It goes away. My minion gets to stay, however. And then now your attack action is still on the stack at this point. So if you had a way to like move 2 next to me or get me out of the bush or something like that, you could continue the attack. But otherwise, your attack's going to fizzle because on declaration you have to have line of sight, and then on resolution you also have to have line of sight.
That's correct. I have nothing that I can do. So I no longer have line of sight too, so my attack will fizzle. So that is a very well played turn. And so as my second action, I am going to... I think I'm going to take a lead action.
Sounds good. Yep, go ahead.
We'll just lead from the top of the deck. And then as my third action, I think I'm just going to worship again. Try to get that pillar back that you so rudely destroyed. And I'll put this one here this time.
Yep, sounds good. She might not want to leave that cover hex, and that way you can blow it up and do more damage to her next turn.
That's going to be it for Akla.
Alrighty, so Astrida has done a good job avoiding damage, which is great. But I think it is time for Brilvar to come over and do some help over here. So, a couple things. If I bring him over within 3 of Astrida, and while she's worshipped, she'll get extra armor, which is always nice against non-mages, which you don't have any mages, although the Blazing Edge would have done that in. So, I'm going to go ahead and move, and now I have a real choice, because I know I'm going to go next to Chemo in order to taunt him with my ability. I can go here, so I'm next to a minion. That leaves me open to be able to shield slam or just attack him. It also leaves me open to, if you have a slide, for you to just push me back into the dome, and then... But that's not the end of the world. If I could go here, you just can slide me over to here. So I think that's fine. I think I want to be next to your minion. So I'm going to go 1, 2 hexes.
Okay.
And with the Leothan heroes, if I want to worship and have it stay after the round, I have to do as my last action, because I can, when I declare the worship action, exhaust and then put the token on afterwards. Whenever you exhaust, you always remove all your conditions. So Leothan is one of the exception, or the way they do their worship actions is an exception that allows you to do that. So that'll be my third action. So my second action now is I'm either going to lead or I'm going to attack this minion. And I have this shield slam, and I don't have anything else really to do with my mana this round. So I think I'm going to just shield slam that. So I'm going to lead so that Astrida doesn't have to. And I'm just going to lead from deck because I am stingy with my cards. I like to use them for other purposes. So he's going to do that, and then that's a lead action. And then he's going to declare a worship action.
Yep, that is good.
And I didn't have to target when I declared it, but then after you say it's okay, then I choose to do it on myself. I technically exhaust myself when I declared it, and then after you said okay, I can put it on here or on Astrida, but there's no point in putting on Astrida. And so now Brilvar is doing his taunting thing, which is one of Ian's favorite things that I do to him when we play.
Yeah, so this is Valiant Taunt. So when an enemy hero activates adjacent to Brilvar, I have to declare an attack action against him if possible. So what Eric has done is, if I choose to activate a chemo, my first action must be to attack Brilvar. Having talked about our game plan, I don't want to attack Brilvar. I want to attack Astrida. So Brilvar is doing what he does best, and he's just being a big old tank.
He's just going over and giving a chemo a hug. I don't understand why people
a hug. That's all.
Complain.
Yep. So I'm gonna see, what else I can do here. I'm not in any rush to activate a chemo, I don't think. So I'm gonna go ahead and just activate Kotlik. And Kotlik is going to start with an attack action targeting this minion.
Sounds good.
Okay. Oof.
Ooh, I am so glad to see that card gone. That card is the bane of my existence.
Yes, I just flipped Kotlik's ultimate. I would have loved to have seen that in my hand, but I just need to now get through my deck. And, one of the things about these 40-card decks is... You just don't quite get through your deck with flipping and leading quite as fast. And, I think that's probably good for the game, these extra cards. So,
yep, I agree.
So my next action, I think, is going to continue to worship. I want to get as many pillars out here on the board as I can and hope to either set up a big Unburial Rites play or a Kotlik skirmish action at some point. So I'm going to put this one, I'm just going to keep them away from you. I don't want you to knock him out. And then I will lead as my last action.
And Ian's already been doing this, but anytime you use those worship actions, destroying pillars is always optional. So even though it says you can do it, you can do 0 basically. And so that's what he's been doing to build his board. And there's no limit on number of pillars anymore, so he can have as many as he can create. Alrighty. So my Estrida is over here. Do I have any reason to go first over here? I kind of want to know what you do with Hokusai before I decide. So I think I want to just go with Estrida. And she's got a pretty simple turn. So I will go ahead and activate her.
Okay.
The first thing I'm going to try and do is what I tried last time. Let's see. So you have mana available on Akimo, but not on Akla. But I can't attack anybody not next to Akla. So if you have another underground tunnels or safeguard, this is just going to be sad again, but I don't see anything else to do. So Estrida is going to declare an attack, and we will do the one that is not next to Brilvar.
Sadly, this time it resolves, Eric.
Alrighty. So she gets to attack for 2. She will take 2 damage, helping your win condition. And then when she does that, she gets to spawn another minion. And
So what Eric's doing here is the Song of the Depths ability on Estrida. So it's going to allow her to, after she defeats a minion with an attack, she may lose 2 HP to spawn a friendly minion.
Yep. So now I've got more minions over here. And so the next thing I want to do, I think, is just lead. I'm within 2 of the control point. I'm not worried about being pushed out of there. I do already have a Brilvar lead, but I don't see what else I'm really going to do here. I'm pretty happy with my spot. Yes, I don't want to be near the pillar, but running away from that seems not so useful, especially since I might be pushing this the other direction next turn. So I'm just going to lead and double. So I now have 2 leads over here. I can only use one of those lead cards, but since they are both blind, the first one could have been a 1, so now I could get a 2 or a 3, so I can choose the better of the 2. And if for some reason he pushes Brilvar into the lane, that's the other thing, is Estrida now has a lead to help on this side. So I'm going to do that, and then with my third action, I'm going to declare a worship action. Is that all right?
That is fine.
So technically she exhausted, lost that, declared the worship action. She can put it right back on to get that armor back, and so she can do her Thing of the Deep again next turn, hopefully. Song of the Depths. Or maybe the Song of Leviathan to disarm somebody next round. But anyway, she is all set up. I like when my Leothans have both are shapeshifted after they activate. Sets them up for next round.
Okay. So I am going to activate a chemo this time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have waited long enough. All right. So the first thing I have to do is declare an attack on Brilvar. So Eric, help me understand some of the rules here. Do I have the ability to play any cards before I declare an attack on Brilvar?
So you have to declare it first. So if at this point in time you cast a slide or something like that, then no. When you activate, there's a window. So when you activate before you declare an attack, if you have a reaction card, you could play it if that could somehow get you away from Brilvar or make Brilvar not targetable or something like that.
Okay, so it must be a reaction card. It cannot be an action card, correct?
Correct. You will not have a chance to play an action card, only reaction cards. Yes.
All right. So I have no reaction cards that I wish to play. So I will be making an attack against Brilvar.
And Brilvar gets +1 armor because he is shapeshifted and within 3 of himself. So he has 3 armor against your 4++.
All right, so we're flipping 2. Got a +1, so that's going to be 5.
5 minus 3 is 2 damage. Sends him down to 15.
All right. So as my second action, I want to start getting cards through my deck. There's some key cards that I see in my discard pile, so I want to do as many flips as I can as possible. So I'm going to declare a skirmish action, and I'm going to target Brilvar on that skirmish.
All right. And so if I can somehow stop you from targeting him, I can make your skirmish fizzle and not get to move. but I do not have anything like that available in my arsenal, so I will let you go ahead and flip on Brilvar.
All right, so flipping on Brilvar. One, it does no damage, but again, I'm just wanting to try to get as many flips as possible so I can shuffle my deck again. So now, with the new skirmish rules, I have 2 movement points that I can use, and I can now move through minions, right?
That is the new rule. Yep. Before it was 1 step, 1 step. Now it is a 2 step. So you are allowed to move through a minion as long as you end in open space.
So I am going to move into the dome. And as my 3rd action, I think I'm going to take a lead.
So I was so worried about being left breached that I came over here, and Ian has decided, nope, that's okay. I'm going to go and win other places, which makes sense. So I have advantage over here, but now, unless I have a way to jump Brilvar in, which we can tell I don't, he's going to have a 3-on-2 hero advantage on these 2 areas. So we'll see what I can do about that. And I was a little bit afraid of that, because Ekrit was going to have a nice turn. We could kill a minion and then stay in here and lead. But now Hokusai can come out. I guess I can do Ekrit last. And if you come into Dome, I just abandon it. I mean, that gives you this guy, but then I'll get both lanes. That seems okay. Or I can go with Ekrit. No, it really should be Akuti that goes first. Because Ekrit will have no reason to stay in this Dome if you bring Hokusai in. Alrighty. So Akuti. Over here, mono-wise, I mean, I've got a Shield Slam happening over here, so I really do have the Bewitch and the Snowblind available to me this turn. I think I want to play at least the Bewitch. Snowblind is fine on these guys. I think I will just do Akuti and the Snowblind. So I need to get next to a minion to do that. So if I get next to this minion and Bewitch it, then I can attack a pillar and use the, what's it called, Retribution to kill the other minion. That seems okay. I kind of want to be closer to there because I think I'm pushing it pretty well, but I think that'll keep me within 3. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do a move action with a Kuti.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. And then before I really decide what I'm doing, I'm going to just try and play the Bewitch to see if, again, underground tunnels or something like that makes me sad. So I'm going to play the Bewitch. I'm now next to this guy. So I'm going to attempt to replace him with one of my own minions.
I have
very similar to a Street's ability.
I have no response.
Alrighty, so we got that one gone. This one comes up and not next to Hokusai in case he has his own shield slams. Colic already has as much as he wants, so that's fine. And then I will declare an attack action on this pillar to try and keep your pillars down, because I just don't like those little stones.
That is fine.
So 1 damage is just enough, and good thing I flipped it there, because now my Akuti Illusion gets to attack the minion that is there, and I really don't want a -1 now. Got a 0. So that Y is also gone. So I've moved, I have attacked. At this point I should lead, and now the question is this lane important enough that I lead with a 3? I think since this is my win condition, it might be. So I have a Chasm in my hand, which is super strong, it can be cast by all my guys. Or I have the Storm, which is probably stronger, but it can only be cast by Ekrit because it's Ekrit's ult. If Ekrit was more hurt, I would probably keep the Eye of the Storm, because not only does it do damage, it also can save Ekrit's life. But I think the Chasm being able to be used if I need to use it defensively in the other lane will be good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and use Ekrit's ult in order to do the lead at the end here.
I think that's probably good. All right, so I'm down to my last hero, and that's going to be Hokusai. And Hokusai is going to start with a... He's going to start with a worship action.
Sounds good.
We're going to target Ekrit.
Ekrit, just like last round.
And then we will flip a +1. So it's going to be 2 to each of us.
Ekrit down to 14.
Okay, so now I have some thinking to do. So this is where I can either stay in this lane and try to clean up a minion or two, or jump into the dome. Where I'm seeing now where I put a chemo is right on the edge. It's not looking great if Ekrit wants to wind barrier him right out at the dome and taking out at that minion if you wanted to. So that is a little unfortunate. So what the last thing I want you to do here is to win all 3 lanes, because that just puts me in an almost unwinnable spot. So I think because of my mistake with the chemo, well, actually I don't even know if I can afford to leave lane 1, because that's the left breach side. So knowing that I see a lead from hand would lead me to know that you got a 3, 6, so it's currently at a 7 to my 1 plus a blind lead. So I don't actually think I can leave this lane. So I am going to move as my second action.
Sounds good.
And I'm going to just declare an attack on this minion.
Okay.
And that's going to be it.
Alrighty. So you just did the math for me. So I have 6 over here. You've got 2 plus a blind lead. Let's assume it's a 2, so that's 4. If I came over here with Ekrit, I only had 1 more, so I'm not getting the tower this turn anyway. I am getting the tactician point. It seems like the move to win the dome seems really good, and yeah, I might be able to get all 3 things, and I get to even save a shield slam because I get to get that guy for free. That seems like too much value for me, so I'm going to go ahead and go with Ekrit. We will go ahead and do a move action.
Move is good.
And do I worry about getting too close to a chemo? I kind of want to stay over by my illusions, but I think that's fine. I will then do a worship action.
Worship is good.
So I can either choose to move Ekrit's illusion from where it is, which wouldn't get where it needs to go, or I can teleport it right back to me and recast it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then move 1 spot. And then I'm going to try and do the attack. Use the wind barrier again to hit these 4 squares.
You got it.
So that's a 2 and a flip. So 3 damage to a chemo. That does 3 damage also to the minion to kill it. Now the minion's not gone right away, so I can't push him into the minion square, but I can push him over to this hex as part of the wind barrier, and then the minion dies. And then we're about to end the round. I'm about to get a ton of cards. I think before, so I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Ekrit, but then when I do that, I go to an end of round. There's a little window there, and I'm just going to go ahead and snowblind a chemo just to make his life horrible. So I cast the snowblind, which is a area of effect, and I get to basically target 5 hex, or it's not target, but I affect 5 hexes, and I'm going to choose those 5 unless you have something to say about it.
I have no response. So chemo is going to get a disarm. It's important to note that you're doing this while a chemo is already has already gone this round. So this is going to start round 3 with the chemo being disarmed. So this is really, really good, strong play for you.
Yep, and the new disarm rules are -2 to attack and -2 to skirmish, as opposed to the half damage thing from before. Alrighty, I have no other shenanigans I want to do end of round. Do you have anything you'd like to do?
Nothing from me.
Alrighty, so Akuti indeed has a 3 over here. What does Kotlik got?
Kotlik has a 3.
A 3 as well. So I have 6 to your 5.
Yep.
I'm just slowly chipping away here, moving 1 step at a time. I think I will put the thing there. Yeah, I get a token and a card. And Twister of Souls, that can be really good next round 3. And then I spawn 2 minions. So 1 there. And it's got to be, again, these minions didn't move, so I spawn there. And I guess over here? Sure.
Okay. So I also spawn 2. And I will put my other minion down this direction. So you're up to 3-1 on the tactician.
Okay.
Lane 2.
Lane 2. I have 2 leads, and I have a street. I have 2 3s over here.
I just have a 1.
Chemo is also here.
Oh,
you get
that's
to
right.
try and flip him too.
You moved him, so he does have a 3.
Does have a 3.
So I'm at a 5.
And I'm at an 8. So I win by 3. There's no minions to kill. I'm not within 3 of your tower, so I don't get to do any tower damage over here. So I merely get to move this thing 1, 2, 3 hexes.
You do get your 4th tactician point.
I get my 4th tactician point, and I get to draw another card. Now, this guy is within 3 of the point, so he does not move, but these guys are 4 away, so they no longer have line of sight. So the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to snap 2. And then I get to spawn 2 more guys for the round. And I will put that here. And in the trees? No, I don't want that. I guess I'll put it here.
All right, and I will put mine here, and I do want mine in the tree.
And I drew a Whispers of Nupton, which makes Ekarit's wind barrier way easier to do fancy stuff with. Alrighty, and then in the middle, I have no leads, but I was able to get all your guys out of there, so I didn't need a lead. So I'm going to get another tactician point, another card, and you brought the OG outsider, but it's all been for my gain today.
I know. I've got a big uphill battle ahead of me.
So here's a win. Here, I'm not going to lose, because even if you win by a gazillion, you don't get to do tower damage next time. So I think now I switch over and just try and help Akuti do whatever damage she can do. So that seems like a fine place to be. It also keeps a chemo from kind of coming over. Nah, not really. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and attack your minion in the back.
Okay.
And then I don't have much reason to worship either of these guys. Their illusions are in... Well, I can get Ekarit's illusion over here. That might not be the worst. Yeah, it's not that useful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. I'm already losing cards, but I love cards. I will go ahead and draw another card. Another Whispers of Nupton. And then the last one, I guess I will do 2 piercing damage to Hokusai, or I'm going to do the piercing attack, which is the shockwave to Hokusai. He's doing damage to himself, and this guy is also. So 1 more damage to Hokusai, and I am unable to push him the 2 hexes, because each hex you have to be able to push individually. So I can't push him like through these guys. So he gets stuck and bounces against the minions there.
Yep. Okay.
Alrighty, and that should be the end of the minion phase.
On
it's
to
cleanup
round 3.
time. On to round 3. We all draw 2 cards. And I drew a Redirect and a Bewitch, which are both helpful cards for doing this pushing strategy. I think I'm going to throw away one of my Whispers of Nupton. And through the eyes, if he actually goes for a kill, is useful. Shield Slam could be useful over here, but I have a Bewitch, which is like super Shield Slam. I guess I could slow somebody. I'm not throwing the Redirect away. My 3 manas are good. I think my touch is better than my Whispers. It's just greedy to throw away through the eyes. I guess I'll throw away the Shield Slam. All right.
Okay. So, as we go into round 3, I am at a place where I cannot lose a single lane, or I will lose by tactician. So, I am not sure at this point how I can make that happen.
Yeah, so a lot of times when it gets to this stage, you like look for hunting for power or some other victory condition that you can just like YOLO or do something. But you're 3 kills away from getting onslaught, so that seems like a hard thing to do this round. You can't do the left breach unless you have a way to push that token 3 spots, like a guide or something. And then tactician is in a win condition. So yeah, you have to tie every lane and just hope to go to another round.
Well, we're going to do our best. So we're going to start with Hokusai.
Alrighty. I sense a boom coming.
And we're going to play a supernova.
Boom. Alrighty. That does not target, so I don't think I can redirect it, right? Deal 4 damage to all enemies within 2 hexes. Yep, so that doesn't do anything. I could use a chasm to push him away 1 hex. That would still get 3 of my minions, so I'd be saving 1 minion some damage, and my illusion would still die also. So that's 3 mana to save a minion. Probably not worth it. And I don't see anything else that's going to be worthwhile, so I think I just let you do that.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 minions and an illusion gone.
And an outsider.
Oh, and an outsider.
The outsider
now it is
going to take
not
2.
piercing, so he takes 2 damage. And whenever you do damage to an outsider, the outsider gets to respond.
That is correct.
So my options are to attack Hokusai, skirmish against Hokusai, or move. And this outsider...
I was going to say, this outsider cannot move.
Cannot move. I can declare a move. He just would move for 0, so it's kind of silly. So I will go ahead and get angry, and I will attack Hokusai back for 3+.
That's a bad idea.
And this goes on the stack, so if you wanted to do something to get out of the way or something like that, you could at this point, but I don't think you are, right?
Nope, I'm good.
Alrighty. So that is a -1. So that's 2 damage into your 2 armor, so you laugh in the face of big old outsiders.
That's right. Okay, so I still have my 3 actions. I've cleaned up the lane. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So now I have to figure out a way to win every single lane. And I think we're going to start with a move action.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
We will... lead.
Okay.
And I think as my last action, I will just make an attack against Ekrit.
Alrighty. Go ahead.
So it's going
to be that's a 4 attack. She only has 1 armor because you killed the Akuti illusion, so she takes 3 damage down to 11.
And that's going to be it for Hokusai.
Alrighty. And so conversely, I only have to win 1 lane. So the first thing I'd think of, the obvious thing is just to have Akuti come over here, kill this guy, and lead to force you into stuff. However, if I can be patient and wait for Kotlik to go, instead of attacking this guy, I can come up and bewitch him, and then I will be able to win this lane as long as I can also lead for a 3. So I think Akuti is just going to wait and go after Kotlik, because I don't think Akuti can die, and that seems like a strong way to win that lane. The middle is pretty easy to calculate unless somebody has a presence, which he doesn't even have blue, so he can't cast presence, and I don't have presence in my hand. So if I want to win this, I have to have more people than him and then have the same lead. So that's tough to win, but again, I don't really want him to win it, so tying it's fine. So really the question is, what do I have to do over here to threaten him to keep his guys over here? And right now I'm ahead by 3 minions, which is a lot, unless he has another way to blow up multiple guys. This seems like a good idea to keep the pressure on over here. I'm saving the Bewitch for the other side, so Astrida, if I let you go and do your thing, are you going to die? I don't think so. So I think I want her to go ahead and go first. And if I need to, I have a touch to give her some armor back. A redirect or a through the eyes to help me against Akla. So actually getting next to Akla is probably a really good idea. So I'm going to go with Astrida. We'll do a move action.
That is fine.
And so the question is, do I want to be over here on the edge next to Akla or here? I think I want to be closer to my friend Brilvar. So I'm going to go there. And then I'm going to declare an attack against the guy on the control point because I can't see the one that's in the bush.
Okay.
So 2 plus 3 is 5 damage. She's going to go ahead and take 2 more damage to make this even more of an uphill battle. And I'll put this guy in the bush also because I might want to stand next to Akla later with Brilvar maybe. And that seems like a good spot to do that. And then at this point, I could worship or I could lead. And I think I just want to lead. And if I need to worship, I have the touch to do that later. So then the question is, do I lead for 3? And I don't think I do, because it's still very possible that he finds a way to kill Astrida if he gets rid of that thing. So I'm going to do a lead and just lead from deck so I can keep my 3 mana cards for Akuti and the Dome if I need to do that.
Yep.
And so she is not shapeshifted at the moment.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of work to do on lane 2, and I'm just not sure how I can overcome this. So, it's just so many minions, and I did not draw into any Unburial Rites or anything like that to...
Yeah, you spent a lot of time setting up the
up.
Burial Rites, and it just never showed up, huh?
Nope. But that's what happens sometimes. And so I think at this point, my best bet might be to try and kill Astrida. It's going to be almost impossible, but I like to at least do something to her. She's taken 4 damage herself. I just, unfortunately, so, I think it's probably important to talk about. So I have a couple of cards that give me Frenzy. And the old rules, I would be able to get a second attack with that Frenzy, and I could try to clear up 2 minions possibly. But now with it just giving me +2 to my attack instead of an extra attack, it's still only going to allow me to take out 1 minion here. And I do have a Provoke the Beast, but you put him on the other side, so that's 1 less attack that I can get with him. So I think I'm just going to try to hurt Astrida the best I can.
Sounds good.
So,
and yeah, the Frenzy rules, I like them. I like this whole Disarm and Frenzy being the opposites of each other exactly. But yes, it did remove some of that strategic, because control people rarely care about the +2, but Frenzy so they could attack 2 minions was definitely something that I'd sign up for. So
yep. So I'm going to activate Akla. You have Akimo disarmed, so it's not going to do quite as much. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Akla.
Sounds good.
And I'm going to start with a Blazing Edge.
Seen that one before. Let's see, how do I get out of line of sight this time? I guess I don't. So, yep, that's fine.
Okay. And then I'm also going to play a Strength over Pain.
Okay. So the way we did this is you haven't declared an attack yet. You played this action card, and then we let it resolve.
Yep.
And at that point, you then played your Strength over Pain. I, again, am going to let it resolve. So now you gain a Frenzy token and take a little bit of damage there.
So Frenzy, and Akla loses 2 life. All right. So now I will declare an attack against Astrida, and I'm currently at a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And I will use this. Remember when I said it would be just the height of arrogance to throw away this through the eyes? I kept it. so that I will now try to disarm to undo that frenzy, basically. I mean, we don't take off the frenzy token, but we get both, and they cancel each other out.
So that will resolve.
Okay.
So I am just going to be at a 5 with piercing.
5++ piercing. I've got no armor. Yep.
Okay, we're flipping 2. Got a
so
+2.
7. 7 puts me down to 5. And to note, I could have touched a Leothan to get more armor, but since you were Blazing Edge, there was no point. So.
Right. And so when I'm trying to do damage, I could do a skirmish, but that disarm token is going to make my skirmish action a -2 as well. Is that correct?
Correct. So, but it cancels your frenzy because your frenzy gave you +2. So you'd be back to a 0+.
So back to a 0. Okay.
But I have 2 armor, so unless you flip a 3, it won't do anything.
That is correct. So I think I am going to just lead and worship. It's like you said, I'll put this one right next to Astrida. So the action is not gonna do much if I'd have to flip a +3, and I think I've seen almost all of them go through my discard pile. So
makes sense. Alrighty. So Astrida's sitting at 5. Akimo, even disarmed, is scary. So I think Brovar's job is to go up and taunt Akimo, and then just keep leading over here. I think that's a good plan to try and keep her safe. I still have a chasm also that he can cast, so as long as they're around Astrida, I can keep her alive that way. But I think that is probably going to be good enough. So we'll go ahead and go with Brovar. We will do a move action.
All right. Akimo will have a response.
Oh, am I getting a pillar in the face?
We're going to play a stone barricade.
Boom. Nice.
We're going to place a pillar right here, and this pillar is going to block your movement.
So I can't move through that pillar. I can't move through these heroes. So I have 3 movement. I can come over here and get next to Akla for next round. I guess that's fine. I could also go 1, 2, 3 and go into the dome. But I really want to keep this chasm alive over here. And if she does die, I need to keep a lead over here. So I think Brovar just swings around here to the Akla. And then we will go ahead and do a lead. And I have plans for both my Twister of Souls and my Chasm, so I'm going to just do the whole double lead from deck thing again. And then I'm going to go ahead and declare a worship action as I exhaust.
That is fine.
And I don't think that taunting Akla is that great, so I think I'm going to actually just put it on Astrida so that she has an extra armor and give her a little more chance to survive.
Yep, I think that's probably good.
And then he is done.
Yep. All right, well, I think I'm going to do the best I can to try to take out Astrida. I think it's a little too late, but I'm going to activate Akimo.
Yep.
And Akimo is going to play an Unstoppable.
Boom. He's fast. He's frenzied. He's got it all. He's disarmed. He's collecting all the tokens.
I want all of the tokens. All right, and as my first action, I am going to worship.
Worship. That seems useful. There's no reason for me to stop that. Yep, go ahead.
I will worship targeting Astrida.
That
this
gives
is
you another +1.
Allow me to move 1 hex. And if I am attacking somebody that I'm adjacent to that's marked, I get +1 on the attack. So
just FYI, you had already played a Stone Barricade, so I assume you want to use the Flux in order to play that Unstoppable.
Right. I did, yeah. So definitely want to Flux. I guess so it's probably important to know that as I play the Flux goes on the stack, so you have an opportunity to react to that.
So there's very few things that react to it, but there's a Doom card out there that people like to play. I don't have anything to do, so I will let that go.
Yeah, so then we play the Unstoppable. Okay. So action 2 is going to be declare an attack on Astrida.
Alrighty, so if I let this happen, the Frenzy and the Disarm cancel each other out. So you've got 4, but you also have 1 more because of the token on me. So it's 5++, and I have 2 armor. So it's basically 3 damage, and you flip 2. So there's a good chance you kill Astrida here. So we are going to have that chasm that we got round 2. We are going to attempt to use it. And now Brilvar is going to cast it, target a hex within 2, and push each hero adjacent to it 1 hex away from it. And so I can pick any hex within 2. I like to do it within 1 in case you have a way to move me. And I think that's fine. So I think I will choose to target Astrida's hex itself.
Yep, I have no response.
Alrighty, so that means that Astrida has to move and she can go in any direction, and everybody else has to move away. So Akimo has done what so far? He's done a worship and an attack?
Correct.
So I'm okay pushing him into the dome. Akla, I don't want in the bush. Brovar has to be pushed away, so he can't go next to Akla, unfortunately. But this is still within 3, so I'll do that. And then Astrida has to go somewhere, and it can go to any of those empty spots. I don't really want to go towards Akimo, so I'll just join my friend Akla over here who wants to kill me. Alrighty, and then that has resolved.
Yep, so my attack fizzles. And as my last action, I will... I guess I will just go ahead and declare a skirmish. We're out for blood, and we'll target Ekrit.
Alrighty, Ekrit will take it.
We're going to flip +2.
So 2, and I have 1 armor, so
Yep.
down to 10.
Actually, yeah, because my Frenzy and Disarm are canceling each other out. So that's going to be it for Chemo.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going with Ekrit. You have a lead here, but it's from hand. So that makes me tight. Yeah, okay. We'll go ahead and be cute here. Ekrit's going to start with a Twister of Souls.
Okay, so this is...
Place an AoE on target hex. I'm going to target my own hex.
Yep.
And so it does 3 damage to each enemy hero hit. So 3 to Akimo, and basically 1 to Hokusai because he's got 2 armor. And then I get to move them all 1. So I'm going to push him here and push Akimo there. Then I'm going to go ahead and move with Ekrit.
Yep.
Is that all right?
That is good.
And then I'll go ahead and worship with Ekrit.
Okay.
And then Ekrit will do the wind barrier attack.
Trying to good.
Push Hokusai.
No response.
So we flip, and that's 2 damage, which does nothing, but I hit the... If I got a -2 somehow, then it wouldn't do it, but as long as I hit even the armor, I get to do the push. So I will push him outside the dome and 4 away from this control point. So his lead is doing no good unless he has a way to move himself back in somehow.
Well, you're just flexing now.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, going down to Kotlik, and again, we are out for blood. So if we can't win the game, we're at least going to try to kill a hero. So Kotlik is going to activate, and he's going to start with a move.
Sounds good.
He is going to declare a worship.
Worship action. That is fine.
We are going to blow up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pillars.
5 pillars. You get to put one new down.
A new one right next to me.
Okay.
So now my skirmish is +5.
Yep.
So I am going to declare a skirmish against Ekrit.
And you can see me, so you can do that. And Ekrit has no mana, and Akudi is too far away. Not that I have a card that can do it anyway. So yes, go ahead.
Right.
Actually, if I had mana, I could make you skirmish. No, it's only against heroes, so I couldn't do that anyway. Yep.
All right, 5+.
5+.
2. So 7.
7. -1 armor is 6 damage, down to 4.
And we will finally play Provoke the Beast.
Dun, dun, dun. Alrighty. So you are provoking, and now this one, if I had mana, I could redirect to my illusion. Or what I can redirect to? Take an attack action with the target outsider. Yeah, so I could do that. Anyway, I can't, so it's going to go off.
All right, so I need a +3 to kill Ekrit here.
You are doing a 3+, right? So
Yep.
you just need a 2. I only have 1 armor.
Oh, you have 1 armor. That's right. So here we go. The attack from the outsider. Doing 5 damage.
Boom.
We got to kill.
And Ekrit goes away until round 5.
Now, when I kill a hero, I get to draw a card.
A card, yep. That
Maybe
is a different rule.
This is the card that is going to help me win 3 lanes. Oh, it's a great card. It's not going to help me win 3 lanes this late in the game. But that is all 3 of my actions with Kotlik. We may be going down, but we're at least going down swinging.
Sounds good. Alrighty, and Akudi is going to do what she said she was going to do. I'll go ahead and do the move. I'll go ahead and play this Bewitch to turn that minion into my minion. And then we will go ahead and lead, and I have no 3 manas in my hand, so I'll go ahead and do it from here. And then my last action, I will get myself some armor again by doing a worship action and say, sorry, Ekrit, if it was here earlier, it would have saved you, but it wasn't. Alrighty. Any other shenanigans?
That is all for me.
So we do lane 1, and at this point, I win by 3. That gets me the tactician point, and nothing else gets resolved. So as soon as one of these conditions, unless it says like invasion end of the round, unless otherwise it goes off right away, and we just end the game at that point.
Yep. So you have won by tactician.
Thank you for the game, Ian.
Well played, Eric. I think I think we probably highlighted just about all of the new rules. Is there anything that you can think of that didn't get highlighted there?
If a tower is destroyed, the whole tower is destroyed, you used to not be able to. You still don't spawn the 2 minions that happen, but if like you had a Strida on defense and you kill a minion, you can spawn here, or if you play Call the Pack or something like that. So that is a new edge case interaction that happens once in a while.
Yep. Okay. Well, so I hope everybody found this enjoyable, educational. If the feedback is positive, we can do more of these games where we play open-handed and you can see everybody's hands and we can talk about our plays. We're definitely open to do that. But we really hope you enjoy this content, and give us feedback in the Discord about what you think and about how many bad plays I made. I'd love to hear it.
Thank you so much, Ian, and thank you all for listening.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.